From your secret friend.
Underneath the bridge,
Who?
Topper sprung a leak, and the animals I've trapped
Haven't a clue.
all become my pet.
Let's play a game. Just me and you. Any of this mean anything to you?
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my channel and time for another episode of Luke's Reviews. It's here, my most anticipated film of 2022, but did Matt Reeves deliver? It is, of course, The Batman. Bruce Wayne has adopted the Batman persona for 2 years now. The Gotham streets are filled with fear whenever the bat signal lights up the sky. The police, besides Jim Gordon, don't trust him. But when a masked serial killer strikes at the heart of Gotham, referring to himself as the Riddler, Batman will face his toughest challenge yet. So when this was announced, I'll admit I was a little perplexed. I understood that Joker was its own thing, acting as more of a character study of the infamous clown, but another new Batman? Even when Warner Brothers are juggling 2 different Batman currently in their DCEU with Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton returning as the Caped Crusader in the Flash solo film. So not to be a Debbie Downer, but this did run the risk of maybe just there being so much Batman out in the world now, you kind of run the risk of it just not being special. And then Matt Reeves came out and said that this is all going to be totally disconnected from the DCEU, it is his own thing, Warner Brothers have kind of just let him have free reign with the character. So cool. And then when the trailers hit...
I'm vengeance.
Oh! It pretty much blew all expectations that we had clean out of the water. This was a Batman movie that didn't look like your average Batman movie. And I'm pleased to say that the trailers weren't lying at all. This is an entirely different Batman movie, the likes of which you've never seen. And being honest, a comic book movie, the likes of which you've never seen. This, if anything, is a crime detective mystery first, and then a superhero movie second. One aspect of Batman's character that I never thought really got much of airtime in terms of films and TV shows was that he is meant to be the world's greatest detective. I think the only product that really took hold of that besides the comics were the Arkham series, the video games, which I unabashedly adore. And thank the heavens, because what we have here is a detective story, something akin to like a David Fincher 7 or Zodiac film. But at the same time, really reminiscent of those Arkham games. We're with Batman investigating crime scenes, ruffling through files, searching for clues, trying to piece this mystery together. But it isn't just the detective aspects that makes the Batman one of the most impressive comic book movies to realistically ever be made, but it's the fact that Matt Reeves so clearly understands the character of Batman. All of the Batman films, including Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, have treated Bruce Wayne and Batman as 2 different personalities. Reeves and co. decided, seeing as this Batman was still relatively early into his crime-fighting days, that what if Batman and Bruce Wayne were one and the same? What if this Batman persona was something that Bruce almost became addicted to and couldn't shake? But as Bruce, the fact that he's being consumed by this entirely, it just adds a really interesting layer to his character. Like, being the Batman is a drug. He's not the playboy billionaire that we've seen from so many other iterations. This is a reclusive Bruce Wayne who is fearful of the world. Robert Pattinson gives probably the best performance from someone as Batman. I'm hesitant to say he's my favourite, just because I've only seen the one film from him, but he is freaking incredible. He's tortured and in pain, but still finding his way through it all. I mean, his version of Batman it's not perfect. Like, he gets his ass beat, he makes mistakes when trying to solve this mystery constructed by the Riddler. And brilliantly, Reeves plays on Bruce's inability to read social cues, where he's so reclusive, so that makes for some pitch-perfect humour in a film that is so bleak and dark and gritty that when those moments are there, they're actually a really welcome relief. Of all the incarnations of Batman so far, this one has the best grasp on the character I've ever seen. Period. Joining Batman on his case is Zoe Kravitz as Selina Kyle, also known as Catwoman. Now, truth be told, when we first meet Catwoman and the beginnings of her story are gradually laid out, I thought it was all a bit basic. Thankfully, her arc evolves into something a lot more interesting, and there's no denying that Kravitz has this undeniable screen presence and also shares brilliant chemistry with Pattinson, honing in that iconic Bat and Cat relationship. I thought Jeffrey Wright was perfectly cast as Jim Gordon, seeing him really team up with Batman, going to the crime scenes, working with him to solve the mystery. That was a duo that I've always so adored from the comics, but I don't think it's been as in-depth as it was here. It felt like it was ripped straight from the comics. And Colin Farrell, man, I mean, this prosthetic work, he looks unrecognizable. It's a really compelling and layered performance of Oswald Cobblepot, otherwise known as the Penguin, and lays some really interesting groundwork, so I can't wait to see where Reeves could potentially take this character if this series were to progress. As for Paul Dano, this version of the Riddler is as dark as it comes. Imagine Jigsaw meets the Zodiac Killer. He's out to uncover the corruption in Gotham by any means necessary. Dano is perfectly unhinged and genuinely terrifying in a number of scenes. But I also appreciated how Reeves was able to adapt the mythology of the Riddler into a more modern day incel type culture and the effects that can have and basically has proven to have in real life. The only bit of casting that didn't blow me away was Andy Serkis as Alfred. I thought he did good, but I don't know. For me, it's very difficult to try and match Michael Caine as Alfred. For me, he will always be the definitive Alfred Pennyworth. That all being said, though, I think the greatest character in this film is Gotham City. Never has a filmmaker so gorgeously brought to life one of the most disgusting fictional cities. There seems to have been a genuine effort to build Gotham as much as possible. Not a single corner feels inviting. Every inch of it feels dirty, gritty, ridden with crime, and therefore you understand why Batman feels like it is his place, that he needs to clean this city. And much of the success of bringing Gotham to life in this way is down to the cinematography from Greg Fraser. Fraser may have outdone himself here. This movie is a visual extravaganza. I cannot explain to you how many frames are exactly what you would want to see in a Batman movie. One shot, it's in the trailer. It's Batman looking over Gotham City. And it audibly in the film made me say, holy shit. The production crew utilized the use of digital projection instead of green screens perfectly. When it comes to big budget blockbusters now, this is the future of filmmaking. I think green screens are going to gradually become a thing of the past, because with these projection screens that were first utilized in The Mandalorian and now have started to become a bit more commonplace, it's going to give the cast and the crew at least a visual reference, something to work with. And then, as if the whole thing couldn't get any better, Michael Giacchino comes in with probably his best score to date. His central Batman theme is instantly iconic, and his overall score for the film, it just adds so much to the atmosphere. My only main critique with the film is something that does include some spoilers, so I'm going to include a little timestamp here. So if you don't want to know any spoilers, skip this timestamp below and you will be completely safe. So with Riddler in Arkham and Batman managing to save Gotham, we then cut back to Riddler freaking out, and it's when someone in the next cell pipes up and we find out to be Barry Keoghan, who we can kind of put two and two together, and it looks like he's playing the Joker. Now, I think Barry Keoghan is perfect casting. I know that kid can do Unhinged if you've ever seen the film The Killing of a Sacred Deer, and I kind of like the look that we got of him. However, I just don't think the scene was necessary. The inclusion kind of felt more like a little wink, and they go like, oh, look what's coming. And I don't think this film needed that, because it proved that you don't have to have all this shared universe and links into different things. You can just build a great film standing on its own two legs. Okay, so those are my thoughts, spoiler free from here on out. It is 3 hours long. You do feel those 3 hours go by, but that's only because it plays out like a methodical, slow burn crime thriller. It's not a thriller-minute action extravaganza. This has a story to tell. It wants to take its time telling it. It really wants you to get immersed in the world of Gotham. But that being said, there is a Batmobile chase sequence in this that could honestly go down as one of the most exciting car chases I think that we have seen, at least since Mad Max Fury Road. Possibly, maybe even surpassing it. Bravo, Matt Reeves. You pulled it off. This is a Batman story that feels so incredibly authentic to the character and legacy. The ensemble is practically perfectly cast. Pattinson is unbelievable as Batman. Kravitz, Dano, Farrell and Wright all shine brightly too. Greg Fraser is a top contender for shooting one of the best looking films in recent memory, and Michael Giacchino has crafted an all-time great score. Make no mistake, The Batman will go down in history as one of the greatest comic book movies ever made. So I'm going to give The Batman a 9.5 out of 10. Anyway guys, those are my thoughts on The Batman. Let me know, have you had a chance to see the film yet? What did you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And my question to you, I would like to know, who is your favourite Batman? It's a tricky one for me. I think you definitely can't rule out Kevin Conroy for what he did voicing Batman in video games and animated shows and animated movies. In terms of live action though, Christian Bale is a really, really good shout, despite the much parodied gruff voice. And I may get some flack for this. I thought that Ben Affleck did a really, really good job too. But look, if we can get another movie of this caliber from Robert Pattinson, then I think at that point it could be very much safe to say that Pattinson would then have the crown. But it's all kind of up in the air at the moment. But that is all we have time for today, so thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Hello, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure to click that like button, and if you aren't already, click that subscribe button too.